everybody. Welcome back to. I haven't been here in a while, but I know y'all miss me.
We do, Helen.
A little bit busy, right? I am
It
back
is.
trying to do Facebook Lives, and my assistant will be starting to do that as well on Tuesday tips. We'll bring those back. We're kind of waiting until 2023 started and kicked off, and now it's already February.
Yeah.
We're to
Can you
January.
believe that? Can you believe that it's February?
I
Because I'm like,
know.
January was just
I
like,
know, it flew by.
I don't know. Yeah.
So I am, for those of you that don't know me, I'm the owner of Dynamis Learning, and it's a K through 12 tutoring, SAT, ACT prep. We are nationwide. We do things virtually and in person. We do them in Atlanta as well, in the metro area. What I say we are doing these days is we are bridging the gap between where a kid is currently and where they want to go and want to be. And that may involve having to navigate the school system some. I know Heather knows all about that.
We do.
and connecting through a teacher to make their academics more successful and increase grades. Isn't that what we all want? So I have Heather Wright back, and welcome, Heather. She is a consultant of her own company. She has a special ed educational background, and she does a lot of advocacy regarding IEPs. And I'm going to let her tell her own biography here a little bit more than what I'm saying. So go ahead, Heather. Inform everybody what all you do.
Well, thank you for having me back. I feel like we were live like a year ago, but it probably wasn't that long ago,
No.
honestly. I just know that life gets busy and school systems, start of school and then winter breaks and Thanksgiving. It just gets crazy. So yeah, thank you for having me back. And those of you that don't know me, I'm Heather Wright, and I'm a special education consultant / IEP coach / certified special ed teacher in the state of Georgia. But just like Helen, I can serve families nationwide, as in IDA law is federal. So it is, again, across the country. So if you're in the Atlanta area, I'm local to Atlanta, but I also support families in different states as well. But my main goal is working with families navigating special education in the public school system. People ask me this all the time, and I don't know the timelines and things like that, but I spent about 15 years teaching middle school special education in a Atlanta school area. I won't name the district. Helen, you and I were former coworkers / teammates, I guess, but not in the same school system or same school. But in a local school. And then I did some time as an instructional support teacher. So behind the scenes in special ed, I taught 5th grade for a year, but I found my passion was middle school. I love middle school. I hated it as a middle schooler, but I loved it as a teacher. So I found my heart was just loves those kids. I don't know. It's just something about middle school. And I think you taught middle school too, Helen.
Yeah,
So
I love middle school.
Middle school is a different game here.
Yes, for sure.
Right. And, COVID happened, and I was just feeling this need to support families. And I decided I was going to jump the traditional teaching classroom role and jump into my own business. So that's where Heather Wright, Master of Education, that's where you can see my initials right there, have come to fruition. So I'm an advocate, but don't like to be considered an advocate because I like collaboration, and not all advocates are coming from a collaborative nature, I guess. And it kind of puts a negative spin on it. And I know that when I was sitting on the side of the table with an advocate, it was like a porcupine, like the hairs on my back of my neck were all standing up and people got a little edgy. So not that I'm not going to ask difficult questions and get answers, but I come from a collaborative standpoint. So that was a little bit about me in a nutshell. And I think we're going to talk about something else that I've done recently here in the next couple minutes.
So I saw that you posted that you have an awesome planner, and I'm excited for you. Very good. You're an author now. I'm working on my book.
It's crazy to think about that, because when I put this together, it was amazing to me. Like, I wanted to create this for families, but to actually see a book with my name on it is like, when I got it in the mail, it was like, it could have been gold. Like, I was like, oh, my name is published. Like,
That's
I
awesome.
just never thought that I would be an author of a book. And your book is different than my book. Mine's a planner, and yours, I think, is, talking about your teaching experience and all the things.
Yeah,
And
mastering test taking strategies. So working on
so
it.
it's different, but I'm so excited for you too when you get your first copy of that book to see your name. It's like never anything I've ever experienced before. Like,
Well, show them the book.
look,
Let's see the book.
so
Woo!
it's right here, and I'm going to try to hold it up that you can see it. So it is called the Yearly IEP Planner, A Parent's Guide, and there's my name right there. So excited about it. I created this over winter break this year. I had some downtime, and it was been on the forefront, kind of back burner a little bit. Like, I should create something for families because you know this, Helen, just working in the school system, there is so much paperwork to keep up with. And the IEP system, the IEP process, you could probably drown in the amount of paperwork that comes from an IEP, comes from the intervention process, and just having it available and readily available. Like, I have families that are like, yeah, I'll just find it in my binder, or they find it in the stack of papers that's sitting at their desk. And I was like, how do you keep it all straight? So I decided to create this planner that is this is not sorry, I'm trying to navigate what that looks like, but it is a bound book. It's a workbook book that you can literally write in. So it takes you, and I'll try to hold this up. I don't mean to like be so
It's a
flashy
yearly
with the
IEP
page.
planner.
It is the
Why did you
yearly.
create it? So that parents would get a little more organized with all their stuff and keep it all in one
Yeah.
place.
So when I went through this, I tried to think of me as an educator, but also how the families that I'm supporting now could use this to gather the information for their IEP for a year. So it is for a year. It's not from 23, 2024. You can put your own dates on it. And I created it that way so it wasn't specific to August to August or August to July. So if you bought this currently, like in February, you could go February to January and it still would be that full year. Um, so I encompassed and tried to think of, what do my parents need? What do my families need? And how can I make their life a little bit easier? And it is a workbook form. I wish it came in spiral form, but it doesn't. Unfortunately, Amazon doesn't allow us to print it. And that's who it is purchased by. You can find this on Amazon. And I think, Helen, you're going to put the
Yep,
link
sure am.
to how you
Yeah.
can find it. I think it's pretty affordable for families. It's just under $20 to purchase the book. And the description will say 114 pages, but it's actually 108 pages of workable, usable space. So I'm going to open it up so you can see a little bit of the insides of it. So give me a second here.
Cool.
And there's like some pages in the back that tell about me. And if you want to work with me as a consultant, you do not need to work with me as a consultant to have this book. So you can work with this book and purchase this book without hiring me to help navigate that, which is also, I think, important for parents because maybe they don't want to have somebody like me yet to help them, but they just need some guidance as to what can be helpful. So you'll find when you open it up, and I'm going to try to get as close, you'll have a table of contents, and I tried to make it user friendly. I hate looking at workbooks and trying to find pages and it's not numbered. They can't find. Here's your table of contents. Go find what you need. I also created a list of commonly used acronyms. And you know this, Helen, from working in the school system. There are so many acronyms in education, not just special education.
A million of them.
Yes. And this is not an exhaustive list, but it is definitely ones that were frequent to me as a teacher, frequent to parents, what I see in IEPs, what I see in eligibility reports and documents. So while it's not exhaustive, it does kind of hit on all of the topics.
Haley says she did order that book from you, Heather, and it's
good. Hi, Haley. I do know
Haley.
Haley. I'm so glad that you purchased it. I hope that you have found it useful so far. You'll also find a yearly planner in a glance. Like this one starts with January on this side, but it goes each month. You can write in these pages, and then it takes you. I've provided you with a beginning of the year checklist. So whether you're starting in August, this is really geared for like August, September kind of things. But if you are starting in the middle of the year, you might not want to worry about the beginning of the year currently. You'll just have to wait until the next school year. I also created an end of the year checklist. So when it comes time, probably not right now, but maybe March, April, May, get the end of the year checklist so you can look at that. And then I also included some important people to keep track of, important information like when their annual review is due, when, excuse me, progress reports are due, and information.
That's great.
Also, contact logs. It's super important. Like I've said before, and I think I shared this on our last podcast or, on the last live, that document everything. Things happen. Like I think that I've talked to somebody yesterday and it's been 2 weeks ago, right? So those conversations, it's nice to have it all in one place. So I did put a spot in there for the date, the method in which you communicated, who you communicated with, and just a little summary spot of what you talked about. Maybe it was grades, maybe it was behavior, maybe it was lunchtime. Like when I was in middle school or teaching in middle school, we always had lunch account issues with kids. Like they'd spend all their money on garbage and ice creams,
Right.
So not that that's important to the IEP, but it's just, again, a contact that you've made with somebody at the school. So keeping track of that. I've also included a breakdown of each month. So with each month, and this is August, but you'll get a planner for the month that you can write in and tailor it to your own needs. Then you'll also have a worksheet for monthly check-ins. So you talk about your wins and your worries and your questions and maybe any action items you get for each month. So maybe in August, your check-ins are different than what your check-in might be in October versus, in May. And then you also, I was a minute taker. I left you 2 full blank pages for your monthly check-ins. There's plenty of space. And I write largely, and I like to doodle all over my pages too. So I really wanted to give parents an opportunity to have tons of space to write. So you'll find each of those for each of the months of the year. You'll also find spots for IEP meeting notes. So when I go into a meeting, I probably take 4 or 5 pages of notes per meeting that I go to. And it's super important that parents do that as well. So whether they have a consultant like myself or they're bringing a friend, take your own notes. So I've included that as well in the book. And you'll also see, I'm big on action items, and sorry for losing all the track, but you'll see on each meeting minute page, there's an action item list. So that action item is, what can you follow up with? What does the school say they're going to be doing? So you can just keep track of what that looks like for your child. And then last thing that I have included is all-inclusive data tracking. So of course, with special education and IEPs, it's all about the data and the progress reports. Sometimes the formats that the schools use are not user-friendly. I was in a meeting a couple weeks ago, and I'm experienced special education teacher, so I looked at tons of progress reports, and I was struggling to keep track of what happened in August versus what's happening in October and what's happening now. And I'm like, this is so confusing. So in this planner, I've created a way that you as a parent can keep track of the goals and objectives and see if they're mastering that throughout the semester. And so you can look and actually see if they are making progress on their goals and objectives that they have in their IEP.
Wow.
So it's a lot. It says 114 pages, like I said, but it actually is 108. Some of it is like the copyright material and then a little information page about me. But it is called The Yearly IEP Planner, A Parent's Guide, and you can find this on Amazon. And I see that you put the link on there.
The link is there. The link is in the comments as well for all the people watching this on the replay. And it might be easier to get it off the comments section. But so would this be for any parent, whether they're new into the IEP world or into special ed, or people have been doing it a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this could be used for anybody. I say that it would be good for the newbies, but it's probably good for veterans too, because again, you're starting out. If you're new to special education, whether that's elementary school, middle school, or high school, right? You don't have to be in elementary for it to be your first IEP for your child.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you don't know, and you don't know how to ask certain questions. So it absolutely can help with new people. It also can help with the older veteran. I'm not going to say older because that means we're old, like age old. If you've been sitting at the IEP table for a long time, it will also help you just keeping all of the documents for one school year in one location.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't have a spot to keep your IEP, and no, it doesn't keep your progress report that the school sends, but you can keep your own data. So then you can go back, and how cool would it be that if you had this and you just put, maybe this was 23-24 school year. You put that on there, and then you kept one for each year, and you could go back and see the progression through each year.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like parents forget how busy it gets, and then you think, oh, I'll remember that. I'll remember that. I'm getting old. I don't remember anything. So I really wanted to just create something that helped make it much easier, that IEP, the special education process, easier for parents, so they don't have file folders stacked up, or it's in an email somewhere that they have to go search through thousands of emails a day. We're
Mm-hmm.
trying to just look at an IEP and figure out what the dates are on those things. They can go here and it says, this is when their annual review is, this is when we need to schedule it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know, sometimes families don't ask, or they don't get asked what they're worried about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important that they address some of those worries. Like, what's keeping you up at night? That can be documented, but it also is a good way to see the progression throughout the school year. Look at all the
Right.
concerns you maybe had in August of a kid moving from elementary school to middle school, and then how much progress. Because sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
only get to see like what's currently happening, right? And forget where we started to where we've come.
Right.
So I hope that it's helpful for families. I've had quite a few people have purchased it, and like Haley said, that she's purchased it. So I hope that it's been helpful for her. I know she just bought it. I think it went live in January. So it's still new for families, but
That's awesome.
I'm so excited about it.
And I would think it's really important for parents who are moving from maybe state to state, and
Mhm.
you got to wait to maybe get your files and get them to the new school, and then you can just look at this book and be able to sit down in a meeting and kind of relay. Like you
Yes.
said, if you have multiple years, you have it all right there. So
Yes.
that's awesome. I'm glad you did that. That's
Yeah.
terrific.
I didn't even think about that, but that's a really, thanks for sharing that with me, because I wasn't even thinking like different states to states, but families do move, right?
A
And
lot.
even in the state of Georgia, people move from district to district. And you're right, the paperwork getting from one district to another district
It's
isn't
delayed.
always as quick as you'd want, especially over the summer. If you already had that information, you could say, this is it, this is what's happening, move forward. I was also on a training 2 weeks ago with DFACS, and somebody had mentioned that this would be a great tool for those families as well, because kids that are in the foster care system do move. I don't want to say all the time, but they do move
Mm,
households and then districts to districts. And then that paperwork again goes to the wayside, and you can't find anything. So if this could be purchased and be sent with a kid to each
mhm.
of their homes, that could be helpful too. So it's specifically for special education, but it also could help document just
Here's
the
an
life.
idea for you, Heather. So I see Haley is saying, I'm still learning how to use it. Why not do a free webinar that shows how to use it?
I should do that, because I did a live like tutorial of just showing what it was. But absolutely, Haley, I would love to, do a tutorial if you want one. I can also probably uh get on a live and do a live with families. And maybe Haley, you'd be interested in going live with me, and so I can show you how to use it. Maybe. Think
Mhm.
about that, Haley. Yes, I would love to get on and show how families can actually use it, and what each kind of piece on the paper is, what sections are, like, what does a worry mean, what
She
does a
says, please.
okay, Haley. I can work on that with you for sure.
That's
If you
awesome.
send me an email, and I think you're going to put my website up
Yes, it's
there.
up there. Yep.
I'll actually put my website here too, Helen, for you to be able to share if you don't mind.
Sure.
um, because that's the easiest way to get in contact with me, is my
Yes.
email.
So I think there's gonna be a free webinar on how to use the planner.
Yes, I think
You
I
don't
should
have
do
to
it.
buy it to use it.
Yes. Yes. I do want and I do want people to be able to have it and know how to use it when they see it. Whether they're working with me or not, they need to be able to see how they can use it and implement it without working with me. But if you also work with me, that's a tool that I can help you with during that sessions. That when we're coaching, when I'm coaching individual clients, we can work through the book and I can help you fill out what you need to. And we can say, okay, this is what we're going to work on in August, and this is what we're going to focus on in September and throughout the year. I know we didn't talk too much about the supports and services that I provide, Helen, but if you are in the Atlanta area, or if you're not in the Atlanta area, and Haley, I know that you're in Alabama because I've met you before. If you guys are looking for support at the IEP table, please reach out for support. I offer a free 30-minute consultation for all prospective clients. It's no obligation. It's really a time where I can talk with you and see what your concerns are and see if we're a good fit. I'm not ever going to say that I'm going to be the best advocate or best consultant for everybody, but I do have a network of people that I can reach out to if it's not going to work for us. But if you are needing support, please reach out. Don't sit at the IEP table by yourself. You don't have to. You have people like myself that can help you interpret what's being said at those meetings.
A lot of legalities, right?
It is. And I'm not a lawyer, so I don't provide legal advice, but I do know what IDA says, and I do know how to make sure that what's in the IEP and what IDA says match up so your child is getting the best supports and services they need.
And if
So
somebody needed an attorney, I'm sure you could refer them to one.
I do.
I know one.
I know a couple attorneys that I can refer to if I need to. I can say that all of the clients that I've worked with so far, I have gotten a lot of positive results, and we haven't had to go down the attorney route at this point, which is good. But there are times that it's necessary. And I will be the first one to say it's time for us to look at an attorney, and I can give out some names. But absolutely, if you're looking for an IEP review, or you're looking for support at an actual meeting, I can come to a meeting, or maybe you're looking for behind the scenes consultation, I can support with that too. But before we do any of that, it is the 30-minute consultation just to see where you need support and how I can best support that need.
Awesome.
So that you can either email me at the on my email that I think Helen just put up there.
Yep.
Or you can reach out to my website and it'll send me an email that says you're looking for a free consultation. Or if you want to skip to the book and before I put the webinar out there, then you can go to Amazon, and that link is also shared with you. So I appreciate you having me on today. And I'm here to support families. That's all I want to do.
That's all we want to do. Educators are great at doing that.
Most
And
of the
people
time, I
don't
think,
really realize that. They think go to the school, but I think we'll be the first to say that that's not necessarily the place. I think parents think that's where they should go, but that's probably not where they should go.
yeah. And
Unfortunately.
sometimes you just need somebody else to look at it from a different angle. Um, there was a lot of times when I was sitting in a classroom or sitting at a table and I felt like I couldn't speak up as a teacher all the time. And that was a really hard place to be at. So that's why another reason why I decided to go into the advocacy route and really just help inform families of what they can ask for, what can be done. And I hate to say play the game, but sometimes there is a little wording that you need to use in certain areas, and unfortunately that's not just shared with everybody freely. So I I help to be able to collaborate with districts and families in order to make sure that their children are being successful academically, socially, behaviorally, the whole 9 yards.
Yep. Well,
So
that's awesome. I'm so happy that you did this planner for parents, because we're all about, figuring out ways to help parents however we can. And
yes.
and there's my email and my phone number. If any of you guys, speaking of helping, if any of you
Yeah.
guys need any assistance with tutoring, just to chat about something you're not sure about how to deal with, both of us actually have a lot of resources. I have
Mhm,
25 years experience plus in
mhm,
the school system, and Heather has 15 plus. So
mhm.
that's a lot. when I count up all the years along with my tutors, how many years we have over 100 years of experience.
Right.
Well over
Seems
100,
a lot.
maybe now closer to 200 because I have like almost 18 tutors here.
That's so amazing.
14 currently working. So I just want to say, reach out for a free conversation, folks. Why struggle? Why continue to go? I don't know what to do about this. I see there's something going on with my child. I don't know what it is, or I'm not sure. Like today, I had a conversation with a parent, a teen, 11th grader parent, about, they're taking SAT and ACT. And I asked if there's anything I need to know about in terms of disabilities or whatever. And they said they used to have an IEP way back in the day when they were younger. But apparently when they moved here, they no longer qualified, whatever that means. I'm like, I need to get a little more information about that, because I might need to go to Heather, or, I might be, I said something about an extended time. Maybe they need a 504.
Right.
So the father is looking into talking to him tonight about, what's happening at school. Do you need any extended time or not?
Right. Well, and I say to families all the time, trust your gut. So sometimes if you just feel like something isn't right, or just get that off feeling, then it's okay to ask for help, whether that's somebody like myself in an advocacy role or a consultant role, or maybe they're struggling with the ACT, SAT, they're struggling in that aspect, or math. I know that I've referred quite a few
a lot of
clients to you for math and things like that. So if you're looking and your kid is struggling, reach out for help, right? Like they don't have to struggle, but neither do you.
Right.
There are resources out there available for you.
And there's a lot of reasons to have tutoring. And I think the number one, reason that most people think of is the struggle, right? But there are so many other things we're doing, advancing kids, doing curriculums ahead of them taking the curriculum even. We've done that. GED, we're doing one right now to help a senior get through her GED because of COVID. So there's a lot
test
of
taking strategies. You did a webinar or a training last week on test taking strategies, and that's huge for families.
Yes, study skills.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing one on February 22nd. I'm glad you brought that up. It's going to be a free webinar, and it's going to be about goal setting and task management, which is really about time management. I didn't want to call it time management, but it is a free webinar. They're free for now, so I would join in, because these are not probably going to be free down the road in the fall.
That sounds like it's some good executive functioning skills.
Yeah, which a lot of kids and a lot of parents have today.
Yes.
So, yes, that's going to be on February 22nd, and it's going to be at 7:30. I'll put the link in the comments as well. It's a free webinar. Just register so you can get the Zoom link from me. And it's for 6th through 12th graders. We want parents to come on, and the kids themselves. We had like 30 signed up last time nationwide, and actually internationally.
That's great.
Yeah.
You're doing some amazing work, Helen, and I want you to keep doing it. You're forging that pathway for kids and their parents too. It's not just about the kids.
And we already know that school systems cannot do it all. I think that's a myth as well. So teachers are burned out. There's too many kids in a classroom, and your child, unfortunately, will get left behind. Hate to use that, analogy there, that little comment, but if you don't stay on top of that, we as educators know what happens down the road, and you can't foresee that maybe into their middle school years, into their high school years, but we have been there. We've watched it. We've seen it. We sit in plenty of meetings to know it. With Heather being in IEP meetings, I've been in 504 meetings as a 504 chair in prior years. So I can tell you things can be stopped way back in the, when they're younger.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I know we're probably close to getting time, but you don't always have to wait until your child is failing or things have gone to the point that you feel that there's no return. Get ahead of the ball, get ahead of the game. If they're struggling a little bit and you're thinking maybe they need some more support tutoring wise, or SATs are coming up for college and things like that, reach out. Or if you think maybe their IEP could be a little bit better, just things, we're worried about these, then reach out to me. It doesn't have to always be when there's a crisis, when there's a fire. Yes, if there's a fire and you're struggling, then please reach out, but it doesn't always have to be that way.
Definitely.
Get ahead of the time.
If you already know your child's has a disability and they struggle in certain things, like I've been tutoring a kid I started him in kindergarten, got him in the gifted program. We're still there in second grade. And now I'm transitioning another tutor in there because I feel like I've worked with him a long time on writing.
Mhm.
And there's things that I'm seeing now, even with his actual writing, that
Right.
nobody has ever corrected. So, and I'm sure that has something to do maybe with some dysgraphia or something like that. But, and
Mhm.
he's not on this, he's really not autistic. He's very highly intelligent. And actually in the county he's in, he's 1.5 years above and doing math. So in second grade.
That's a
And
lot.
so they're doing area, and I had to reach out to the teacher because the mom's like, I said, area's big numbers, right? Do they know their timetables in second grade? No. So I had to reach out to the teacher, and they go, oh, yeah, we assume that the parents are going to be teaching them that from last year. And I'm going, wow. Okay. So, I said to the mom, you need to get on that unless you want us to do that.
Right. Well,
So he
and
needed to
that's that
learn his eights, his
communication.
nines, his 12s, especially the
Yeah,
ones that
but
are
that's
hard.
that communication piece, right? That there's a little discrepancy of what the expectation was from the parent side and the school side. So
Hmm.
that helps for us, both of us. It helps us help facilitate some of those conversations. And if you do have an IEP or a child with an IEP, and again, you can be twice exceptional. So you can have an IEP and still be gifted. Um, the planner will help with that too. Like maybe you are worried that this kid in second grade is supposed to know his multiplication facts, but he doesn't because he's a second grader.
Right.
Right? like
Exactly.
like that's a skill that's beforehand, but that could be something that the planner is used for as well, is to figure out what that worry is right now. Like he's
Mm,
taking math that's above his 1.5 grade levels above where he's at grade level wise, but he hasn't been taught the multiplication or the skills, those prereq skills to be able to do the
mm.
area. You probably give him lower numbers, he could probably figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
But the math that he's doing at a year and a half above second grade is not just twos and threes.
No, and there's things that they've skipped over, like a
Yes.
whole section of a book where, well, how now if he's doing double digits times one digit,
Hmm.
that's even higher level. So even though a child isn't above level, they're going to probably have some gaps there because they're moving very quickly.
Right.
And so, right, like this kid didn't know his timetables all the way, and he's like punching the little machine, that has the but of course, you
Right.
can't keep doing that, but he's highly intelligent.
Right. And he'll probably get it. It's not that a matter that he won't end up getting
Right,
it, but
he
he
will
needs to
get
be
it.
explicitly taught that skill. So I think of it as if he was, let's say he had a disability and was, having an IEP and gifted, we could look at what does the IEP and what supports can we put into place to be able to make sure that he is instructed to be able to get to that level.
Mhm.
And what accommodations does he need as a second grader working at a year and a half above where that is.
Right, isn't that amazing? And I think he'll be, like, probably dual enrolled by 15.
I saw a thing on Facebook that a 9-year-old just graduated college. He did
I've
like some
spoken to
online courses and stuff like that, and he graduated college at 9, and I was like,
I've
you
spoken to a
probably
child that was dual enrolled at 15 and wanted a tutor for me. Doesn't drive, of course, at with Chamblee and Oglethorpe University. He was actually going
wow.
there.
I
Mhm.
I
Taking
mean,
like a chemistry 4 or 5 or something like that.
that's above my pay grade.
Well, I wanted to thank you again for coming
You're
on. I know
welcome, Helen.
we've gone way above the time, and I know you have an appointment. So, everybody, I hope you join me again either next Tuesday. I actually will probably come on later this week and talk about the webinar separately, and encourage people to sign up for that free webinar on task management and goal setting. All right,
And thank
everybody,
you.
have a great rest of your week. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye
Helen.
for
Bye.
now. See ya.